hobbyists, and welcome to this little video on magnetizing this kit. So this is the kit of the Mother of Nightmares slash the Vengorian Lord. So we're going to be looking at ways of possibly magnetizing this, and I have an example here to show us all. So here's the box. Right, you can make our lovely Lady of Nightmares, or you can make the Vengorian Lord. So what I did, which was probably the easier route, again, you could magnetize all these little fiddly bits, but we'll look at the instructions first, just so I can give you an idea of the process real quick. Okay, back to our instructions. So what I did was I tried to take the best of both worlds when going about magnetizing this. So it required a little bit of jimmy rigging, as we could say. So trying to add a couple pieces of sprue plastic in there to help anchor magnets. So all that you need is the sprues that it comes with and some smaller magnets. You'll see them in a little bit here when I do the demonstration. You can order them online, probably through Amazon or from China. You might wait a while, but I remember only paying a very small amount for about 300 small magnets, so sometimes it's worth the wait. So, jumping on in. Again, assembled it all the way like so. When you get up to the page here where you have your deviations, with me, I made sure not to put on the two wing pieces. So this is one arm completely finished up, and this is the other arm completely finished up, connected to the structure below. I dry fitted it to make sure that it will be flush and flat with the ground. So that's something key to do when you're putting this together. I also didn't put on the end bit of the tail yet, because that's kind of flimsy, and I left off pieces 20 and 21, which is something I cover in the assembly video earlier. So now that we have kind of this chunk built, you have two options. Now, if you prefer having this set up with this blade, this magnetization method might not work, because it changes kind of the shoulder joint and makes it a little bit trickier. It probably still will work, but it might be a little bit harder. So I went with the rapier sort of blade sticking out. So I glued that in. I also glued in the Mother of Nightmares handpiece, so this half handpiece. Just because, again, I don't have magnets that small for a little hand, so I just went with that. Now the variation pieces between her and the Vengorian Lord are these two chest pieces. One has the breastplates, and the other one is filled with a skull. So this is the Vengorian one, the skull one, and this is the Lady of Nightmare one. And camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. So after assembling the other arm and attaching it, what I've done is there's a few points where I have put magnets. So the other thing that I've glued besides the two arms is this back piece here. This back piece, piece 32, I glued it in there, but what I had to do was put a magnet here. So 31 actually covers part of the chest plate. So there is a little bit of a gap here, which I'll try and fill in with some milli putty or something later on. Let's see if it'll catch this on camera. So here's a magnetization point. Let's move that back into frame. And it just kind of slaps on. And there's a little bit of a gap. Again, it looks a bit worse on camera, but there's just a little gap there. So that's the first point of magnetize. Just drill the small hole in the slotted section. So if you look at the instructions, there's like a little slot that this piece fits into. I then drilled out the one slot piece and put in a magnet, and did the same thing on the arm. And it fits together almost perfectly. So once you have that piece done, the next one is getting the other shoulder part attached, because again, it covers part of the breastplate. So this is piece 18. Again, polarity of magnets, you gotta be careful with that. I had to pull these out a few times. So again, there's a slot and a key piece that fits into it. So I just drilled in, removed part of the key piece, the part that sticks out to kind of anchor, and I left the two parts, it's kind of hard to tell, below and above where this magnet is to help anchor it in. So I can then just place it on there and it fits on like a glove and it holds very, very well. So then that piece is on. So those are the easy ones. The tricky one, I used a different cylinder magnet for the head. The head is a pain, I'm not gonna lie. It is not fun to be magnetizing for this model. And you'll see here in a moment why that is. So let's grab the Mother of Nightmares chest piece. All we have to do is simply slot it into place. It's a little bit tricky. There we go. We grab the hood. So the hood is piece 22. I don't really do too much to this. And you kind of just place it in there gently. I may have to, yeah, there we go. And then we grab the head. So I kind of attach the magnet into the bottom of the Mother of Nightmares head. So then that will not quite attach to the magnet in the chest, but it'll be close enough. And there we go. You push it in a little bit. I can hold her upside down. She's not losing her head. It's in there. So the whole completed look, we go ahead and we put on piece 31, and then we put on piece 18 on this shoulder, and voila. It's almost seamless. It's just this little gap here, which again can be fixed fairly easily. So she's got her head. Now, a little tricky with, again, putting in those magnets. You might have a easier time at it than I did. The thing that I did with, let's deconstruct this real quick. The thing that I did with the cylinder magnet in here is I put a piece of sprue. This is a handy trick for any of you out there. Put a piece of sprue underneath. You can see that little, tiny little plastic part that's not part of the kit. It's part of the sprue. I put it underneath the magnet and used gel glue. So with magnets, gel glue kind of works a bit better. It's like a Gorilla Super Glue is what it's called. It's great. It helps kind of fill in gaps and gets around the magnet, and I find it a lot better than using the basic plastic glue from Citadel, for instance. So that's that part. The last part you got to do is, of course, have the chest plate for the Vangorian Lord. Put that in there. And you got to magnetize his head. So his head's a little bit different with the Mother of Nightmares. Her head was easy peasy to magnetize. You see here I'm struggling a little bit because it is a little bit finicky to get this in because there is a slot and peg thing. Requires a little bit of tweaking. There we go, got it. So with his, same sort of thing, I took a little piece. So this is the Vangorian's head. Let's focus, camera. Let's focus. Okay, so this is his head. I had to drill another hole in the bottom of his head, and you'll see that it's raised up with another piece of sprue. So I clipped off actually one of the number pieces. So it said like part 36, just a number part that sticks out of the sprue. Clip that off, cut it in half, put it here, and then glue the magnet on top. And again, use the gel glue. So now we're gonna go ahead and put on his head after we remove Mother Nightmare. So take off her head. And again, it's not like you're doing this like halfway through a match or anything. So We're gonna grab him, make sure that it does fit through this slot. That's the trickiest part, is making sure that this doesn't interfere with things. All right, so with a little bit of re-gluing, I was able to put in the magnet again for our Vangorian Lord's head. And that fixed it, and as you can tell, it kind of moves around a little bit more than the other one. There we are. He is now all assembled. You can shake and bake him. He's in there. So he is all assembled and ready to go for combat, just like the Mother of Nightmares. So with that, hopefully this helped you with dealing with this kit and magnetizing it. Until next time, happy hobby.